Once there was a young child, blessed by the elements bestowed upon her by Mother Nature. Word of her magical potential spread through the inner walls of a nearby kingdom, whose mages then offered their hand as a newly recruit. Of course, the young mage obliged. There, she trained diligently, honing and refining her magical prowess to eventual mastery. She was quick to learn, and her powers were far stronger than any other mage in the kingdom. That eventually the other mages would celebrate her achievements, calling her an absolute magical genius, the blessing of Mother Nature herself. Unbeknownst to her, a game of whispers of her brilliant gifts made its rounds across the kingdom and eventually fell into the ears behind palace walls. Such rumors piqued much curiosity and interest from His Royal Majesty the King. One day, she was visited by an envoy sent from His Majesty, who relayed an exclusive, honorary invitation to meet with the king in person. Again, the young mage happily obliged. After all, what an absolute honor it is to be recognized by His Majesty himself, isn't it? Well, on that fateful day, the king greeted her with a warm smile and gave thanks to Mother Nature for blessing his kingdom with such a gifted, powerful mage. He showered her with kindness and an abundance of compliments, and so the king extended his royal hand to bid her servitude and loyalty to him, and bequeathed upon her the title of the Royal Mage. She gladly accepted his offer, and from that day onwards, she happily stood by the king as his loyal servant. But little did she know how things would turn out afterwards. For the king she chose to serve was not the person she thought he was. Au contraire, a tyrannical figure hid behind his amicable facade, one who was ready to bathe in fire and blood, with eyes dead set for power and glory. And not long after, he began his destructive conquest and waged war to conquer surrounding nations. And having the royal mage by his side was his sole secret stratagem. The king saw her as his greatest weapon and brandished her with his own pride. She served him well, and little effort was needed for her to overtake his enemies. However, this brutal war triggered an even larger cataclysmic chain of wars that spanned across the continent. Days went by, turning into weeks, months, years. The war didn't seem to be ending anytime soon, and blood trailed behind wherever the royal mage stood. Too many casualties. Too much. It eventually hit her. Once assumed the blood of the king's fallen enemies, yet now she realized her death-stained hands are truly drenched by the blood of at least thousands too many fallen innocents. そうか。私、ヒーローじゃないや。私は、ただの人殺しだ。もう、疲れた。
かった。今日か。この戦争終わらせよう。
So the royal mage went behind the king's back and met with a group of rebels who protested against the king's brutality, all of whom were former citizens and militants united together with the desire to end the seemingly endless war. Of course, the royal mage knew that the king could never defend himself against his own weapon. The rebels realized that they could finally stop this once and for all. So they planned and instigated a coup d'etat against the king and slay that tyrant for good. Everyone cheered in victory and celebrated in great relief. The war has ended and the remaining innocent lives were spared. The shackles were finally broken. The people were finally free. And she, too, was finally free. And well, now that she's free, I think she's slightly gone off the rails after everything she had to deal with. But all's well that ends well. No longer bound to anyone, she embraces her freedom and sets off to go on a lifelong adventure, traveling around the world with an adorable little cat by her side.